13 reasons your mousetraps are not getting the job done. Welcome back to Pest SWAT. Today, we are going to talk about a common issue many homeowners face. Ineffective mouse traps. Mice, those tiny, seemingly harmless creatures, can become a homeowner's worst nightmare.
These furry invaders can bring along a host of issues, from health concerns to property damage, making their eviction a top priority for anyone.
Sometimes it feels like the little critters continue to outsmart you no matter how many traps you set. If you are tired of those pesky rodents outsmarting your traps, you are not alone and you are in the right place. We have compiled a list of 13 common reasons why your mousetraps might not be working. Reason number 1. You have improper bait placement. Are your traps not catching any mice? It might be because you are not putting the bait in the right spot. Placing the bait too close to the front can allow mice to snatch it without triggering the trap. This happens as mice are naturally cautious yet curious creatures. They tend to follow walls and explore your home along familiar paths, like baseboards or the edges of rooms. Mice are likelier to engage with a trap if you position the bait at its back or just slightly behind the trigger mechanism. This way, they have to work for the treat that will lure them in, and the snap trap can work its magic. If you place the food at the snap trap's front, then it might not activate quickly enough. Reason number 2. You are using the wrong bait. Using the wrong bait can be a huge problem. Are you using cheese as bait? Well, that is a common misconception. Mice are more attracted to peanut butter, chocolate, or even dried fruits. Swap out the cheese for something tastier.
Using a bait that mice are not attracted to can make your traps less effective.
Make sure the food you choose is fresh. Mice have a keen sense of smell, and fresh offerings will always be more attractive than something like moldy, stale bread. Replace it each evening to maintain its effectiveness if it's not taken at first. If one type of bait does not seem to work, experiment with different options. Mice preferences can vary, so trying a few other foods may increase your chances of success. Reason number 3. You are using too much bait. Are you piling on the bait in hopes of catching more mice? Well, that could be counterproductive. With too much bait present, mice may be able to access the food without actually triggering the trap. Using excessive amounts is not only inefficient but wasteful as well. It can also attract other pests, like ants or roaches, without catching the intended mice, worsening the problem. To avoid overloading the traps, use a pea-sized portion of bait in the trap. This is usually sufficient to entice a mouse.
If you used too much in the past, clean the device thoroughly to remove any lingering scent before setting it again. As mice have a keen sense of smell, any residual odor from the old food can put them off from entering.
Reason number 4. You are ignoring proper placement. Proper trap placement is essential. If you are randomly scattering traps, you are doing it wrong.
Focus on areas where you have noticed mouse activity, such as near food sources or along walls. Avoid placing them in the middle of tables, in the center of rooms, or close to cabinet edges. To fix this, start by observing where you have seen signs of mice in your home. You can look for droppings, gnaw marks on furniture and baseboards, or nesting materials.
These are the high-traffic areas where you should focus your placement. Position them parallel to walls, with the baited end facing the wall. This increases the chances of mice encountering the traps, as they will run across them on their evening scurry. Reason number 5. You are not using enough traps. Are you trying to catch a mouse army with just 1 or 2 traps? That one not work. You need multiple traps placed strategically to increase your chances of success. If you only put out a few, you provide limited home coverage.
Mice are cautious creatures, and they do well to remember things. If you are dealing with an infestation, a few devices might not be sufficient to catch them all, as most cannot be used more than once without being cleaned.
In areas with lots of mouse activity, it is always best to use multiple options simultaneously. Reason number 6. You are choosing the wrong type of trap. Using the wrong trap type can be a major issue. Snap traps, glue traps, and live traps each have their uses. Snap traps are the most common. You might also choose an electronic trap. These use a high-voltage shock to quickly and humanely kill mice. They are effective and safe to use, especially in homes with children or pets. If you are using the wrong type, it may not effectively capture the mice in your specific situation. For example, a glue trap might not work well if the mice are cautious and avoid stepping onto it. Using the wrong device may also lead to inhumane treatment of mice or may not align with your ethical concerns, especially if you do not plan to kill the mice. Reason number 7. You are not securing the traps. Are your traps getting knocked over or moved by the mice without triggering? You need to secure them in place to prevent this. Use some adhesive putty or wire to keep them in position. Securing traps is essential to ensure they stay where they are supposed to be, increasing the chances of successful trapping. You can do this by using bait stations designed for traps or by attaching traps to stable surfaces. Start by placing the trap along a wall or in a location where you have noticed mouse activity. Next, use a small piece of double-sided tape or adhesive putty to attach the trap to the floor. Additionally, you can place heavy objects or boxes around the trap to create a barrier, guiding the mouse toward the trap's trigger. Reason number 8. You are not checking traps regularly. Check your traps regularly, ideally every 24 hours, to remove any trapped mice and reset them. When you leave them unchecked for an extended period, any caught mice may start to decompose, creating an unpleasant living environment for you but also poses potential health hazards. This is because decaying rodents release harmful bacteria and pathogens. The carcasses will also start to attract flies, cockroaches, and other pests, leaving you with a secondary infestation. Regular checks allow for swift disposal of captured mice, ensuring both a more humane approach to pest control and the prevention of odor and health issues. Be sure to check your traps at least once a day to avoid making more work for yourself. Reason number 9. You are ignoring hygiene. Keep your home tidy to reduce the appeal for these unwanted guests. Surprisingly, a dirty environment can deter mice from approaching traps. Mice are naturally suspicious creatures. If they detect signs of human activity or a contaminated area around the devices, they may avoid them altogether. Plus, your scent can transfer onto the devices during handling, potentially making them less appealing to rodents. To counter this, wear gloves when setting, loading, or checking traps to minimize the chances of your scent repelling mice. You will likely need a new set each time, so you should buy a small box of disposable gloves. By prioritizing hygiene and cleanliness, you create a more conducive environment for successful mouse trapping. Reason number 10. You are setting the traps too soon. Setting mouse traps too soon after cleaning an area infested with rodents can indeed hinder their effectiveness. This is because mice are creatures of habit. They tend to avoid unfamiliar or recently disturbed environments. So, if you have just cleaned or reorganized an area and immediately placed traps, the mice might be hesitant to venture back into that space. Plus, if you rush to set lures right after a deep cleaning, you may inadvertently mask the scent of their previously established trails or any potential attractants, like food crumbs. Instead, it is essential to give the mice a bit of time to regain their confidence and re-establish their regular paths before setting traps. Reason number 11. You are not sealing the entry points. Setting traps before sealing entry points is a common mistake.
Make sure you have blocked off all possible mouse entryways before trapping, or new mice will replace the captured ones.
Seal up cracks and holes in your home to prevent more mice from entering. This is a crucial step in long-term mouse control. Common spots are small gaps and cracks in a home's foundation, walls, or siding.
Mice can squeeze through openings as small as a quarter of an inch.
Mice also find their way inside through damaged roofing, vents, or openings leading into attics and crawl spaces.
You can also check uncapped vents and chimneys as mice climb up and enter through these openings, seeking warmth and shelter.
Reason number 12. You are only trapping every once in a while.
Mice are social animals that live in colonies, so catching just one mouse does not necessarily mean the problem is solved.
If you trap sporadically or only when you notice signs of mice, you might miss out on capturing all the mice in the colony. Mice reproduce rapidly, and an unchecked infestation can quickly grow out of control. Regular and ongoing trapping efforts are necessary to ensure you catch all the mice and prevent them from breeding and multiplying. Consistency in trapping is crucial for effective mouse control. Do not just trap when you see a mouse. Maintain a regular trapping schedule to prevent infestations from taking hold. Reason number 13. You are ignoring professional help. If all else fails, and you are still struggling to get rid of those mice, it is a clear sign that the infestation might be more challenging than initially thought.
If this happens to you, and you have done troubleshooting with every item on this list, it might be time to call in the professionals. Pest control experts can thoroughly assess your property, identify the root causes of the infestation, and implement targeted and comprehensive solutions to eradicate mice from your environment. They also have access to a variety of baits and traps that are not readily available to the general public.
Ignoring professional help when faced with persistent trapping failures may only prolong the issue and result in further damage or health risks. Fighting mice on your own can also take up a lot of brain space and waste a lot of money. Sometimes, it is just better to ask for help.
So there you have it. 13 reasons your mouse traps might not be working as effectively as you would like. Remember, a combination of proper bait placement, the right bait, and consistent trapping can make a world of difference in your battle against these unwanted guests. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more pest control tips on Pest SWAT.
Thanks for watching.